Chapter 1, Make Believe. It all started when we were playing at the flight into Egypt. Make believe. It was in the schoolyard at recess time, right after the Christmas vacation, beginning of the year 1944. I have to write all about it now, lest I forget later on, the way most grown-ups do forget the very important things, such as not talking about a treasure or not asking what one is thinking about. If I write now all I remember about it, perhaps when I am old, let us say 20, somebody may find these pages and make a book. But that is a very long way off. I am only 13 and I was 11 when it happened. My name is Janet. There were also George and Philip and Henry and Denise and Louis and many others. 20 in all. And we were all fifth graders except Louis, who was only 4 years old but was allowed to be with us because he was Denise's little brother. And this was permitted because the war was on and France was occupied, and the children were herded all together where it was safest for them to be. In our town, the boys' school and the girls' school were combined, and each grade was sent somewhere in the country. We, the fifth graders, boys and girls, were given that lovely old house on the top of a mountain. It was called Bay Villan, beautiful valley, because we could see the valley for miles and miles from up there, and it was very beautiful. Anyway, we were all up there, the fifth graders and Louis, and Sister Gabriel was with us, and we were very happy because we just loved her. She was young and gay and quick. She never walked, she flew. Now, as I was saying at the very beginning, we were playing at the flight into Egypt. I was Mary, and George was Joseph, and Louis was the little one. The other boys and girls asked, "And who are we going to be?" I said, "The Egyptians, of course. Can't you see? The three of us, Joseph, the little one, and myself, we are DPs, refugees, Jewish refugees. We have fled into Egypt." "Why?" asked Denise. "Because King Herod wanted to kill the little one. Don't you remember? Sister Gabriel told us all about it," I said proudly. "What do we Egyptians do?" asked Philip. Then it was that Henry said flatly, "We sell." "Sell?" I cried. "Well, what do you think?" went on Henry. "Jewish refugees have got to eat, just like the others, don't they?" I didn't know what to say because I didn't want to make Henry angry. He is so very good at make-believe games. Also, it was really because of him that I was Mary. George, said he did not want a fair Mary. He said it was all wrong since Mary was dark. And I was furious because I knew all the time he said that because he prefers Denise, who is dark. So I said Mary was a blonde, and the proof was that I had seen a picture of her made by a man called Memling, and she did have blonde hair in that picture. Then Henry stepped in and said, "George is right, and Janet is right too, because sometimes Mary is dark, and sometimes she is fair. Mary can be French, Spanish, Russian, Negro, Indian, Chinese, anything at all." Denise said, "How do you know?" And Henry said, "I know." And that was that, because Henry is very, very clever. Then he added that since we had a dark Mary for the nativity, Denise, We could have a fair one for the flight into Egypt, and I could be Mary. Henry does like me." "Don't you think it is only just?" asked Henry grandly. George nodded. He could hardly do anything else. So I was Mary, and I didn't want to make Henry mad. When he suggested that the Egyptians had to sell to the Holy Family because refugees have got to eat, I had to think very fast for an answer. "Henry is right," I said cautiously. "All refugees have got to eat. My idea was that we, the little one, Joseph, and myself, we would make the journey first." I pointed to the whole playground. "Then, when we get to Egypt, you Egyptians give us everything. The baker bread, the butcher meat, the housewives, diapers for the little one." "Phew," interrupted Henry. "That's no fun. What is the matter with Joseph anyway?" he asked, turning towards Joseph George and getting right into the game as he knew so well how to do. "Can't you pay for this stuff, Mr. Joseph?" "Course," said Joseph. "I can work. I am a carpenter." "Look, fellow," said Henry, "already there are not enough jobs to go around in this village." "Henry," I stamped my foot. I was almost cross. "Henry, you cannot talk to Joseph that way. To Joseph." "Be quiet," ordered Henry. "Are we playing or not?" "Yes, of course. I guess I'm just stupid. Go ahead. Only," I added, "don't make it too long, because Jesus, is awfully heavy in my arms. I think that all you Egyptians could at least offer me a chair." Philip made the gesture of pushing a chair toward me, and I thanked him. "All right," said Henry. "Now we men can talk this over. Mr. Joseph, what about your ration cards?" "We don't have any," answered Joseph. "That's bad," mused Henry, stroking an imaginary beard. "But, as I told you," retorted Joseph, "I can work." "Not so fast, not so fast," admonished Henry. "I already told you. Work is no good. And now you have no ration cards." "We've got to eat," went on Joseph doggedly. Sure, said Henry. Then he dropped his voice. "But you have got money, haven't you?" "Henry," wailed Denise. She was very sentimental. "Don't butt in," snapped Henry. "I know what I'm saying, that Mr. Joseph is trying to get work away from us Egyptians, and he has no ration cards, and he pretends he has no money, but he is double-crossing us, because, as a matter of fact, he is rich."